Hello, hello, welcome. So happy to be here. This is episode 0 of this new series that I decided to call This is Lala Podcast. You're gonna see most of the episodes here online in videos, also in audio format. Basically, I will teach you about technology and I will guide you through how is it to have a career in tech. But we're going a little bit further. We're also going to talk about goals, travel, self growth, everything from my experience that hopefully can inspire you to dream bigger and make it happen. So, what am I doing here? Anybody has any idea about, okay, when you know that you have to do something but you start procrastinating? Well, that's me. And finally, I'm sharing this with you because I truly love to share knowledge. I enjoy teaching a lot in a classroom. I really enjoy public speaking in conferences. But you know what happened in the last 2 years? It led us to stay at home, and it was a huge challenge for uh, a lot of people. But in my case, what helped me is to start creating online connections instead of in person. I know that it's not the same, but on a positive note, it pushed me to start somehow discovering how I can share knowledge online. And even though it's not the same, again, it was possible to stay connected with a lot of people that otherwise in person was not possible, like people overseas, even from my hometown, and that was amazing. So besides this, I used to be a huge radio fan. I'm a millennial, so it's something that you have to check. If you're a millennial, you need to have a podcast. And yeah, and here I am starting my first episode today. So I decided to start this episode and call it Hello World. We already know that Hello World is the first thing that when we code, when we learn a new programming language, it's like our first impression with the tech world. It opened up a lot of new doors and windows and chances. So I think it's also related with what I'm doing today because this is my introduction to you and also into this new online content world. So for today, what I would like to share with you is my story. So not because of the idea to say, hey, this is me. These were my the things that I was able to achieve. Not about that. Just because I would like to ask you, which are the kind of things that you are interested to learn from my experience. So that's the main thing that I need from you. Okay, so let's start. The first thing, besides creating our Hello World program, is I will start sharing some of my story. If you're wondering where is that accent coming from, I'm originally from Argentina. I've been born and raised in Buenos Aires, the capital city of this wonderful country. But now, if you look to have some coffee with me, you can find me in the beautiful city of London. I will tell you the story about why I finished here in this wonderful city. But yeah, that's part of my life. So the first thing that I need to tell you, how is the first approach with technology, and in this case, with coding and a lot of stuff. So the first thing is I'm really lucky to say that I have an older brother. He's 10 years older than me. And in my house, thanks to him, we were able to have our very, very first computer. I think I was like, let's say, 10 years old, something like that. But if you're young enough, you probably don't know that those days you didn't have any OS and you didn't have any, yeah, like it was just command lines. So, it was something called DOS. But that little box, it was a computer similar to this one, the one that you see here. But anyway, I was so excited that the thing is, if I wanted to do something, you need to actually put some command lines in order to have an output. It was so different. Like there was no Windows operating system or any other type of thing that it was visual. It was just command lines. And that was my first approach, and I really like it. I really like the thing that you put some commands over there and then you were able to do amazing things like playing this game. I was a huge fan of this one, Wolf 3D. Probably you can tell my age if you feel this game, if I unlock one of your memories. This is amazing. I totally enjoy that. And that's how I started to have a relationship with the computer, just the computer. And then I knew when I grow older, I knew that I wanted to do something related with computers. So that's how I started learning. And actually, my first language was something called QBasic. This was in high school. And I've started to learn actually how you can create something from scratch with an input and actually have an output. For me, it was like, wow, like almost magic, the kind of thing that you're able to have a result just because you put some steps over there. And yeah, and it was something that it kept me really motivated. So if you're wondering, okay, which language should I choose? Should I choose this one? I don't think so right now. But we're gonna talk about that in these videos or podcast. We're gonna talk about how you can start, which type of programming language, and so on. So I started with QBasic, and then I continue with Visual Basic. At that moment, it was a really good way to do apps, let's say like that. And actually, I remember my first complete app was for a taxi agency, so they were able to save their clients and delete and everything. So that was pretty fun. Okay, so that was during high school years, and then something happened, right? You need to decide what are you gonna do next in your life. You got that pressure. Fortunately for me, it was pretty clear. I knew that I had to do something related with computers. So I decided to go to my wonderful university that is called in Argentina. University in Argentina is free, so I decided to take a look into software engineering. The thing is, something happened. I decided to if you expect me to say, oh, you got a degree in that university and you were really successful, no. I was a really bad student at the university. I've studied well, but I decided to choose a different path because thanks to my university, I've started to work as a trainee, and I've started to work in tech really, really young. So let's say that somehow I make experience a priority instead of the education. With this, I'm not saying you just can skip college or, university, whatever. I think for everybody it works different. We're gonna talk about this a lot because right now you have so many different ways to learn, and code, how to code, and also to be in a career related with tech. But in my case, I've started okay, and then I've started working pretty early in tech. Um, I don't know. I was not able to do both things at the same time because at that moment is in Argentina. I was like doing a full time job, 9 to 6, and then during the night, university, and then at the same time, I wanted to to create experiences as a young person and experience life. So I decided to continue going with my experience in tech. So I quit college and I continue with the path of um, working in tech from a really young age. Again, if I wouldn't go to the university, my life would completely be different because thanks to my university, I had the chance to apply as a trainee to these different jobs, including my first full-time job that it was in Oracle, yeah, the big data company at that moment that it was where I started with these. I started with SQL, databases and all the stuff. And then suddenly I started to learn JavaScript. So imagine how my life changed thanks to the university. Again, if I wouldn't go to the university, even though I didn't finish my career, my life path would be completely different. Besides that, I gained friends for life. Um, so yeah, I started more as a backend person because in Oracle it was more about databases, and then I found JavaScript and I started to learn JavaScript and HTML5 and and so on. So this is how my career started pretty early again. Skip university, continue focus into job. So from Oracle, this was I don't know 10 years ago, um, till now in Buenos Aires, in my hometown, I've been into different types of jobs. From Oracle, I went to other big companies, startups. So I'm gonna share with you what is the difference. Where should you start? It's like you should start in a big company, small company, freelancing. I had the chance to experience different types of jobs in tech. But my last job in my hometown was in the government. Yes, completely different environment. And that is where my life completely changed. And this is, I hope that you're still there because this is where things were getting really excited and it was a completely shift 360 degrees in my life. So when I was in this job, I was working as a software developer, and it was more of internal projects, doing things with the web. I have the chance to have amazing mentors. Besides that, I've started to apply more web development because before I was able to work with JavaScript but more into embedded products, so not the web 100%. But at the same time, I've started to move myself and actually work in JavaScript. But besides that, in I've started to attend in different meetups, conferences. And let me tell you a quick story about this one. I remember one of the first conferences that I was able to attend, that there was one man over there explaining something about HTML5 and Google Maps, something like that. And he said that his job was about traveling and, having conferences around the world. And I was like, wow, this is the best job ever. Like, I want to be like that guy. Okay, so I'm gonna close that parenthesis. I continue going to meetups, and somehow there was one of the organizers of the meetup that talked to me and said, hey, you come here very often. Why you don't join us and start doing conferences and events? What do you know? And I was like, super scary, believe me, like, what do you need from me? And then I decided, like, yeah, why not? Why not start and share knowledge? Because at the same time, I like to teach. So let's push myself into conferences. And I started with public speaking, and that completely changed my life. And one of the first big conferences that I was able to attend, I checked the lineup, and the same person that I said, wow, I want to be like, that person and have the same job as you, was there in this conference. So imagine. So that happened. I started to teach. I've started to go into conferences, and I've started to also do more travel. So my first solo travel, was actually in New York City. This is me. This is also another story that I will tell. I was lucky enough to do my almost by accident solo trip to New York, and I'm really happy. That completely changed my life, because to experience solo travel as a female also is a challenge, because you put yourself out of your comfort zone. It was the first time that I was going to the US, and that gave me a completely different point of view about what is freedom, and also about what do I want. I want to see the world a little bit more. So then I made the decision to, when I went back from that trip, I had the chance to I have so many stories to tell, but in the middle there's another story about a scholarship that I was able to win in terms of going to a big conference in the US, the Google I/O. So I was having this hunger to see the world and not to go to the office and sit in the box every day. And actually, I love what I do. I love to create things, but I wanted to have more freedom. And that's why on one of my trips, I went to LA, to San Francisco, and suddenly I quit my job. And I didn't have any plans. I was in the US. I didn't have any plans about what am I gonna do, or okay, what happens next, or or even like I didn't have any money plan, or a lot of savings. I just trust my gut. I will tell more about this story, because I think it's something that it can push you to first of all trust yourself, and then learn from putting yourself out of your comfort zone. But thanks to that decision, that's where I've started a life as a freelancer. In the middle, I tried to be an entrepreneur, and I've started like a digital nomad life that lasts about 2 years and a half. So at the end of this adventure, first New York City, and then the words are in Spanish, but I will translate. That year, 2018, I made 37 cities, 10 different countries, the same as 1.2 trips around the world. And I was doing this because, first of all, I have this hunger to experience the world. Second, I wanted to know what am I going next. And third, I was able to mix traveling with giving conferences. I decided every time that I was able to travel, I decided to connect with a community, a tech community, and give a conference. Most of these cities that you see here in the map, in most of these cities, I was able to give a talk, a tech talk. And again, more challenges. First, big conference in not my native language, in English, in countries that I never imagined before, like Turkey, Russia, and so on. So that's part of the adventure. And I believe, like, if you're wondering if you need to travel or travel solo or how you can go a little bit further, we're gonna talk about that. So that's where my big shift happened. And after these 2 years and a half of traveling, I decided to settle somehow, and that's why I decided, from all the places that I've been, London was the one that I really like more to stay, at least right now. And I've decided to look for a new job. And thanks to this experience of talking and teaching and conferences, I was like, I need to get a new job, but I don't want to go back to being 100% as a software developer, even though I enjoyed that. But I also enjoy teaching and actually sharing knowledge with people. So that's why I ended up as a developer advocate, which is this role that you need to research and then share with the audience what you already know. And thanks to all of these talks that I gave and these contributions to the community, I was able to actually being recognized as a Google Developer Expert. So we're gonna talk about this too. What is to be a Google Developer Expert and how you can become one? So I'm a Google Developer Expert for Firebase. It's a recognition that Google gives you. It's like a certification that it gives you credential as you know a lot of certain technology, Google technology. So in my case, I'm a Google Developer Expert for Firebase. And again, we're gonna talk about what does it mean, which are the benefits, and whatever you want to ask about this journey. So again, this is like just a small overview of about which are the experiences that I think it can be useful for you traveling, trying to be a freelancer, entrepreneur, which are the different types of jobs that you can get as a software developer, and so on. Again, at the end of the day, like Steve Jobs said, points were connected. My speaker contributions were in line to my current role. And as you can listen, it was a long way. And as I said before, this is to share my experience that hopefully can inspire you to do similar things, or at least bring curiosity about these topics. Therefore, on the following episodes, we will see more in detail about the things that I mentioned, like, again, getting clients, public speaking, deciding a tech niche, or also you can expect guests that are amazing people and also they want to share knowledge. And I hope you like it. If you like this episode and you're looking for listening to more of these video podcasts, I invited you to actually subscribe to my channel down here, and I will really appreciate that. If you want to know any adventures related with my travels or the pictures that I have, I'm also on Instagram. You can contact me. This is Lala on Instagram. If you want to know also which kind of events I'm doing, what's going on with the web, I'm also on Twitter. This is Lala, okay? But the main thing is I would like to hear your feedback, which kind of things you are interested. But as usual, I hope you like it, and don't believe anything that I said. Just go out, create your own experience, but then remember, you need to share it with the world. Thanks for listening.